What does it feel like to be the shadow in your own family's light? I used to ask myself that every night, lying in my cramped bedroom while laughter echoed from the living room where my parents fawned over my sister, Lila. I was 16, awkward, and perpetually invisible unless I messed up. Then, I was a disgrace. That's what they called me. Lila, though, she was their golden child, their miracle, all because of a reason so absurd it still twists my stomach to think about. My name is Evie, and I wasn't always bitter. Growing up, I tried to be the daughter they wanted. I studied hard, kept quiet, and cleaned up after myself. But it was never enough. My parents, polished and proper, had a vision of perfection, and I didn't fit it. My hair was too wild, my grades too average, my dreams too small. Lila, 2 years younger, was their masterpiece. She had delicate curls, a soft voice, and a smile that could charm anyone. But it wasn't her charm they worshipped. It was her gift. Lila was born on the night of a lunar eclipse, under a blood-red moon. My parents, superstitious to a fault, believed it marked her as special, destined for greatness. They'd read some old book about celestial omens, and that was it. Lila was their chosen one. They hung on her every word, framed her childish drawings, and threw parties for her smallest achievements. A++ on a math test? A banquet. Meanwhile, my A in history was met with a shrug. Try harder, Evie, Mom would say, her eyes already drifting to Lila's latest doodle. The worst day came when I was 15. I'd spent weeks preparing for a school art contest, pouring my heart into a painting of a stormy, seamy way of showing the chaos I felt inside. I won first place. Ecstatic, I ran home, clutching the certificate, thinking maybe this time they'd see me. I burst through the door, words tumbling out. Dad barely looked up from his newspaper. Mom was braiding Lila's hair. "That's nice, Evie," she said, distracted. Then Lila piped up. "I made a bracelet today." Mom's face lit up. "Oh, Lila, you're so creative." My certificate hit the table, unnoticed. That night, I heard Dad whisper to Mom, "Evie's such a disgrace, always chasing attention." I stopped trying after that. Why bother? Lila's every breath was a masterpiece. My every step was a mistake. But the resentment grew, a quiet fire in my chest. I started sneaking out, hanging with kids who didn't care about my last name or my sister's halo. They saw me. Not the disgrace, just Evie. It felt good, but it also led me down a darker path, skipping school, lying, and one night, getting caught spray painting an old warehouse. The ride home in the police car was silent. At home, Dad's face was red, Mom's eyes wet with disappointment. "Why can't you be like Lila?" they shouted. Lila, who was asleep, untouched by their anger. I wanted to scream that Lila wasn't perfect, she was just a kid, like me, but born under a stupid moon. Instead, I swallowed my words and took the grounding. Things changed the summer I turned 17. Lila, now 14, started noticing the gap between us. One night, she crept into my room, holding a notebook. "Evie, I wrote something," she whispered. "It's about you." I braced for another glowing story about her own brilliance, but instead, she read a poem. It was about a girl in the shadows, unseen but strong, fighting to be heard. My throat tightened. "That's you," she said softly. "I see you, Evie. I'm sorry. I didn't know what to say." Lila wasn't the enemy, she was trapped in their worship, too. We talked for hours that night. She admitted she felt crushed by their expectations, terrified of failing their destined daughter. I told her about the art contest, the warehouse, the ache of being invisible. For the first time, we weren't rivals. We were sisters. The next week, Lila did something unthinkable. At her birthday dinner, with relatives fawning over her celestial gift, she stood up. "Stop it," she said, her voice shaking. "I'm not special because of some moon. And Evie's not a disgrace. She's talented, brave, and you don't even see her." The room went silent. Mom's fork clattered. Dad's face froze. Lila grabbed my hand under the table, and I squeezed back. It didn't fix everything. My parents were too stubborn to change overnight. But they started listening, really listening. Mom hung my old painting in the living room. Dad asked about my art school plans. It was slow, awkward, but it was something. Lila and I grew closer, our bond stronger than their misplaced worship. I learned that family isn't about who shines brightest, it's about who sees you when the light's gone out. Looking back, I don't hate my parents anymore. They were wrong, blinded by a silly superstition, but they're human. Lila taught me that. And I taught her that no one's destined for greatness, make our own paths. Now, when I paint, it's not for their approval. It's for me. And sometimes, Lila sits beside me, sketching her own dreams, no eclipse required.